The crypto market has taken a bit of a dip today, XRP included, but don't let that minor pullback fool you. Earlier in the day, the overall crypto market actually touched a brand new all-time high. So this little drop, barely a blip on the radar. The bigger moves are still ahead. And in this video, I'm going to share perspectives from several respected chart analysts who have an impressive history of accurate calls. Many of them believe XRP is about to enter face melt mode sooner rather than later. One analyst in particular says XRP is already sitting right in its breakout zone. Yes, price action has been moving sideways for a while now, over a week, give or take, but it's not going to stay there. This setup is primed for a massive breakout. Honestly, the last time the market was this charged up was after the US election back in November. But the difference now is that conditions are even more favorable. Back then, analysts predicted the rally, and they were right. This time, on a macro level, the setup is even stronger. Look at global liquidity trends. Look at gold showing weakness. Look at the broader market cycle. Everything is lining up perfectly. That's why this is such an exciting moment. Now, just to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't have any professional background in finance. This is not investment advice. I'm simply a crypto enthusiast who enjoys making videos for fun. As I'm recording this, 5:08 p.m. Central Time, Monday, August 11, 2025. XRP is trading at $3.13, marking its 24-hour low. Here's the 24-hour chart for XRP. And here's Bitcoin's. As you can see, XRP is basically mirroring Bitcoin's movements. Bitcoin is currently at $118,567, but earlier today, it topped $122,000. We're just shy of its all-time high of about $123,000. And I believe it's only a matter of time before it smashes through that level and surges upward. When that happens, I expect Bitcoin dominance to drop and altcoin dominance to rise, with coins like Ethereum and XRP set to skyrocket. Speaking of Ethereum, I don't usually cover it much on this channel, even though I hold some. But whenever ETH starts to move, it often signals that the rest of the market is about to take off. Right now, Ethereum is trading a little over $4,200, with today's high hitting $4,353. That's nearly $3,000 higher than just a few months ago, when people were calling it dead at around $1,400. And here's the thing, it hasn't even reached a new all-time high yet this cycle. The record is $4,861, and plenty of analysts believe it could run to $10,000. If that happens, then XRP is aiming for the number 2 market cap spot. It would need to reach about $20 to match. And given past market cycles, that kind of move isn't without precedent. Just last night at 9:54 p.m., the blockchain backer posted an update that caught my eye. He wrote, after holding weekly closes above the December 2024 highs for the total crypto market cap, the latest weekly candle has now closed at its highest point ever and is pushing even higher as we start the new week, sitting at a massive $4 trillion. Seeing that number, 4 trillion, honestly feels a bit surreal. Back when I first got into crypto in 2017 and all through 2018, I kept telling myself this market was going to be so much bigger one day. My thinking was simple. Either we in the crypto space were totally wrong, delusional even, and everything was heading for zero, which I never bought into, or the world would eventually catch on and the market would keep expanding as more people realized we were right. I remember when the total market cap was barely $100 billion, maybe even less. Fast forward to today, we're at $4 trillion. And one day, it'll hit $10 trillion, then tens of trillions, and eventually cross the $100 trillion mark. That's why I keep saying, if you're new to crypto, you're still early. I know it might not feel that way right now, but when we eventually see this space hit $100 trillion, and you've built life-changing wealth, you won't be thinking, wow, I was late. You'll be looking back saying, yep, I was early, and you were right. And yes, by that point, I fully expect you to be leaving comments about how brilliant I was, how handsome I am, and how sharp my jawline looks. That's just the natural progression of things. To drive this point home, here's something from WatcherGuru posted earlier today at 11:25 a.m. They reported, just in, the total cryptocurrency market cap has hit a fresh all-time high of $4.1 trillion. You've got to love seeing that. And let me be clear, moves like this don't happen at the end of bull markets. They just don't. Think about the current sentiment. For many people, it's still in the dumps. Sure, I'm feeling bullish. And maybe you are too. But a lot of folks out there aren't feeling excited. Hardly anyone is euphoric right now. And that's exactly why this is such a powerful signal. Alright, finally got it to load. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Mustache. This one's about the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin. That's the total 2 chart. He points out that we've just seen something big, a bullish cross on the monthly MACD for total 2. According to him, the chart is showing a lot of similarities to the previous cycle. And if you look closely at what he's talking about, you'll see it. The same kind of cross we saw back in 2020 has just happened again, right now. Back then, it occurred at the end of the year after the election, and we all know what followed. Those are classic bull market signals. This is the kind of thing you see before the real mania phase kicks in. Of course, no one can say with absolute certainty what comes next, myself included, but I've got a high degree of confidence that this is the path we're on. In my view, it's as close to a sure thing as you can get in this space. Here's one from Negantropic. That's the account run by the co-founders of the on-chain analytics firm Glassnode. Their comment was short but powerful. This move is unprecedented. Spot demand is real. The calm before the storm. So, what were they talking about? They were referencing a post from Swissblock, which focused on the Bitcoin futures to spot ratio. Swissblock wrote, "We keep hearing fake out rally or exit liquidity. Couldn't be further from the truth. Since the April lows, this move has been entirely spot-driven. Massive allocators are scooping up every last Bitcoin. The futures to spot ratio is now back to October 2022 levels. A clear signal of epic spot demand. This is real." That's the kind of thing I love to see. I've become a big fan of Swissblock lately because their approach is incredibly data-driven. They don't just push hype. They present the raw numbers, explain what those numbers have historically meant, and let the facts speak for themselves. Sure, there's some interpretation, but the foundation is pure data. And that's exactly the kind of perspective I want. Absolutely fantastic. All of this helps me form reasonable expectations about the most likely scenarios. Now, here's a post from Chart Analyst Dom. And don't worry, we're getting to the XRP specific stuff in just a moment. Stick with me. Dom pointed out that Bitcoin dominance had peaked, but then pulled back, almost like it wasn't ready to make the full move yet. He thinks what we're seeing now is a bearish retest in progress. His view? The next drop below 60% dominance will be the real deal. And if history repeats itself, as it often does, that means we'd see Bitcoin's price make a run while dominance falls. And altcoins, including XRP, start ripping higher. Just the other day, we dipped into the 59% range, and I flagged it on my channel. At the time Dom made his post, Bitcoin dominance was 60.59%. If his read is right, this is set to tumble hard, and altcoin dominance will soar. Dom also shared an Ethereum update. He noted that EED has finally broken through its 500-day resistance zone, a level that had rejected it 4 separate times. His question now is whether we'll see a retest. If that happens, the $4,000 level needs to hold. From there, he thinks an all-time high is just a matter of when, not if. When he posted that, ETH was trading at $4,331, which is only about 14% away from its ATH. And here's the thing, in charting, when you keep pressing up against a resistance line, it gets weaker over time. This time, ETH smashed through it. So the next step is seeing if a retest happens, and in crypto, that's completely normal. A brief dip below $4,000 wouldn't be alarming, but holding that zone would be a great sign. If ETH bounces from there and rockets up, that's usually when the real fun begins. In other words, once ETH makes its move, the rest of the market tends to follow. and it looks like we're getting close. Yep, we've had to endure Ethereum acting like a stubborn, underperforming brat for most of the year with messy, frustrating price action. But I never doubted it would recover. And of course it has, because it never made any logical sense to declare it dead. That's just classic retail investor panic. Price is down, so the asset must be worthless. No, that's not how this works. Please stop doing that. You're just making yourself look ridiculous. Now here we are, and ETH just needs a little more push before it really takes off. Speaking of which, here's a post from Crypto Wizard about the Bitcoin dominance chart. His words? Let it rain. Served up on a silver platter. How does it taste? He's pointing out that Ethereum versus Bitcoin is breaking sharply to the upside, while Bitcoin dominance is dropping fast. The takeaway? The altcoin rally is barely out of the gate. Time to buckle up and enjoy the ride. And that's exactly the vibe I'm picking up from every chart analyst I follow right now. The move is happening, folks. It's in motion. Here's a post from chart analyst Zoom. ETH just logged its highest weekly close since December 2021. Gotta love seeing that. He shared it last night after the weekly close, with ES sitting at $4,249. This coin is far from dead, my friends. A few months back, plenty of people were writing it off. But here we are. All it took was a little patience, as always. Zoom also shared an XRP order book update, noting that XRP is right where we want it, around the $3.20 mark. He mentioned there could be a small hurdle at $3.40, but with the right push, it could break through quickly. The bigger battle is between $3.60 and $3.80. Sure, price has slipped slightly since he posted that, but we're still in the same sideways zone. And sideways doesn't last forever, not in crypto. Chart analyst Dark Defender pointed out that XRP bounced right at $3.33. He believes once we break that level, we'll see a major move. Funny enough, the 24-hour high earlier today was $3.32, almost identical to his call. Yes, there's some resistance, but once that barrier is gone, he expects things to move fast. He also noted XRP could keep consolidating toward $3.05 until $3.33 is cleared. Either way, the direction is up. Then there's chart analyst CW, who says XRP's bull flag breakout is just about ready, and the rocket launch is near. I've been looking for bearish opinions on XRP this cycle, not because I want them to be right, but because I want balanced coverage. The reality is, they're almost impossible to find right now. When I do find even mildly negative takes, I share them. But the truth is, the analysts I follow are overwhelmingly bullish. Of course, XRP will eventually top out this cycle. At that point, sentiment will turn, and I'll be sharing that too. We don't have to like it, but the bubble will pop. That's just how markets work. The important thing is to be ready with an exit plan. Chartner says if XRP can break through $3.27 and the local high of $3.60 on this leg, he expects $4 to come quickly, with the 0.618 fib level being the main resistance. Chart analyst Bark is even bolder, calling for XRP to hit between $11 and $15 after breaking out on the weekly chart, and saying this week will melt faces. I get nervous when analysts put exact timeframes on calls, but late-stage bull markets can take off any day, so I won't dismiss it entirely. Chart analyst Galaxy says XRP's current structure reminds him of 2017, only slower and more organic this time. He's expecting big moves ahead as well. Greg Crypto shared a chart highlighting a trend line that, if hit by September 1st, could see XRP at around $16. I know numbers like that can feel impossible when we're far away from them, but in bull markets, price can move incredibly fast. In 2017, XRP went from about 20 cents to $3.35 in just 2.5 weeks. That was the whole run. This is why I keep saying, you could wake up any morning and be just a few weeks from the cycle top without realizing it. Once it starts, it's a sprint. That's why I can't imagine not being excited about the market. Right now, the best is still ahead. I'll close with the usual reminder. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say or write should ever be the reason you buy or sell. That would be a very, very bad idea.